do have 2 other sugar skull tutorials up on my channel from last year that are more kind of the classic type, so if you're interested, I will link that down below in the description bar. Alright guys, so first off, I'm priming my face with the Becca Ever Matte Poreless Perfecting Primer, and then I'm going to go in with my L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte Foundation in the shade 104, just to kind of even out my complexion. I'm not putting a very heavy amount of foundation. And now I'm going to go in with my MAC Paint Pot in the shade Soft Ochre, and I'm taking this to my lids to prime before I go in with any eyeshadows. And now I'm going in with this NYX Infinite Shadow Stick in the shade Blackout, and I'm going to start mapping out the shape of my sugar skull. So I'm just starting to kind of cut out the jawline, tracing around the perimeter of my hairline, and just kind of getting a rough guideline. It doesn't have to be perfect, we're going to blend everything out later on. And same thing here, I'm just tracing out the natural socket line. Doesn't have to be perfect or symmetric as this normally wouldn't be. And after you got your kind of traced out shape, I'm going to start filling things in with the NYX Jumbo Pencil in the shade Milk. This is going to be my base, and I'm just blending that out with my fingers as well. And I'm also leaving a blank spot at the tip of my nose where I'm going to put the nares for my skeleton a little later. So just trying to trace around that and leave a little blank area, which we fill in black later. And now I'm going in with my Urban Decay Electric palette, and I'm taking this gorgeous blue turquoise shade and just starting to dust that around the perimeters of the skull. And again, none of this has to be perfect. I'm just starting to pack on color in different areas where I want that blue. And then we're just going to keep on blending throughout this entire process. So feel free to put the color wherever you choose, use any colors you like. And now I'm going to go in with this yellow shade from NYX. And I'm not sure what the color is actually called, but I'll list everything down below in the description bar as always. So I'm coloring in almost that whole half side yellow, and then I'm going to take a little bit of yellow into the blue area and just start blending those 2 shades together. Going back into the Urban Decay Electric palette, I'm taking this shade called Slow Burn and starting to blend that into the yellow shade, just to give it a little bit more dimension and have another color that kind of blends into that. So just take your time, place the color wherever you want. I'm keeping this mostly on the perimeter around the yellow side. And I'm going in with this gorgeous green shade and starting to blend that into the blue and just filling in any empty spaces that I had left before. And that green shade wasn't quite as pigmented as I wanted, so I'm going into my BH Cosmetics Eyes in the 80s palette and taking more of that deep green shade and packing that on. Now I'm going into the Anastasia Shadow Couture palette and taking that blue shade called Azure and just buffing that into the other blue that I had already placed, just because this one is a little bit deeper and more pigmented. So just taking my time to kind of blend things out, mesh the 2 shades together. And I'm also packing some more yellow on. I'm actually using a yellow shade from that BH Cosmetics palette because it had a little bit more shimmer. And now going back to the sockets, I'm taking that shadow stick from NYX and just kind of setting a base down before I go in with any eyeshadows. Now I'm going in with this kind of gorgeous grayish purple color. I believe this is from my Motives Cosmetics palette. This is the Motive Maven's Element box. And just starting to pack that down all around the eyes, a little bit under the lower lash line, and slowly starting to buff everything out with a big fluffy blending brush. And now I'm going in with my NYX gel liner around the perimeter of the sockets. And I am going to start to blend this out with this black shadow called Noir from the Anastasia Shadow Couture palette. I'm basically trying to create a gradient effect from the black and slowly fading into that charcoal gray color. And now I'm going in with this deep purple shade from MAC called Shadow Lady, and I had already put down a base on my jawline. I used that NYX Infinite Shadow Stick, and I'm just kind of buffing things out with that purple shadow, and same thing, trying to create that gradient effect from the black down to the purple. I'm also taking a little bit of that shadow back into the sockets and blending the grayish shade into the black shade. And I decided to go back in with more of a deep purple from that BH Cosmetics palette. And now, as you can see, I scraped off some red eyeshadow from that BH Cosmetics palette, and I'm mixing it with the Inglot Duraline, and this creates an instant gel or liquid liner, I guess you can call it. You can use any eyeshadow color for this. This stuff is super cool. So I'm starting to create the little petals around the sockets of my eyes using that red paint. I'm going back in and just putting little accent dots in the petals, but feel free to do whatever you prefer. And same thing, now I'm going in just to do some designs. I'm starting off with kind of this flower shape to the center of my forehead. And I wanted to do a lot of precision detailing with this, but it was getting a little messy with that red paint, so I decided to go in with this black liner. I believe this is the Precision liner from NYX. And just kind of doing a little bit of black details to kind of separate the red and start to define things a bit. And now I'm drawing in some leaves coming out from the sides of this big flower in the center. And I decided to kind of stick with red only. I didn't want to do any other colors. But really just get creative with this, make it your own. I did decide to go in with a cross to the center of my forehead because a lot of sugar skull pictures do have that. So I'm just kind of doing a little bit of detailing designs. And I think at this point I actually switched from that red paint to a red lipstick from Wet n Wild. Just because I got tired of mixing the red eyeshadow with the Duraline. But I kind of regret it because I feel like the Duraline and the red eyeshadow looked a lot more pigmented, especially on camera. It picked up a lot better than the lipstick. But now I'm going into the nose and I'm using my Motives gel eyeliner in the shade LBD and just tracing out the nares like kind of like a skeleton would have, and I'm filling that in with a black shadow just to set that in place. And yep, there's that lipstick I was talking about. That's the Wet n Wild lipstick I was using for my designs, and I'll list the color down below in the description bar. But just keeping on, you know, trying to keep the design somewhat symmetric, so doing both of these little designs to each cheek, but feel free to do whatever you choose. I'm going down to the chin, and I kind of decided to go in with a little rose, so I'm just slowly tracing out some petals, and I keep building up that pattern. But you can get so creative with this. You can throw gems on the face, some glitter. I kind of just wanted to keep it nice and simple, keep all of the designs red. And now I'm going back to the eyes. I'm taking that jumbo pencil from NYX and putting a white base on the lower lash line, and then going in with that blue eyeshadow called Azure from Anastasia and packing that on top. And I'm using this blue mascara just to the bottom lashes, just for a nice little pop. It's not picking up very well on camera. And I did pop on some false lashes to the upper lash line, just on the outer corner, as I do have on lash extensions as well. So I cut some false lashes in half. And for lips, I lined my lips with the NYX lip liner in the shade Bloom, and then I'm going in with this Milani liquid lipstick, and it's a gorgeous pink color. You can also use red if you want to stick with the same color theme, but I wanted just a nice contrast with the lips. And now I'm going in with that black gel eyeliner again, and just drawing some of these little teeth markings on my mouth and just dragging it out a little bit from the edges of my lip. And this is the completed look. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you can catch my next Halloween tutorial, and I'll see you guys soon.